Deep within the heart of an ancient forest, where silence breathes and the shadows whisper, the Pandavas faced a test. Not of strength, not of war, but of wisdom. This is the tale of Yudhishthira and the Yaksha, a tale that journeys through life, death, and the timeless truths of Dharma. In the vast wilderness of Kamyaka, where trees stood like sentinels of forgotten time, an extraordinary moment unfolded, a moment of piercing insight that still echoes through the ages. Found in the sacred pages of the Mahabharata's Vana Parva, chapters 312 and 313, this is no ordinary tale. It is a dialogue between the mortal and the divine, between the seeker and the guardian of knowledge. During their 12 years of exile, their Vanavasa, the five brothers wandered through dense, untamed lands. But their journey was not only through forest and fire. It was through doubt, through duty, through the fragile threads of right and wrong. Betrayed in a rigged game of dice, stripped of their kingdom and honor, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva were cast into the wilderness. But what seemed like punishment was the beginning of transformation. And at the heart of this transformation was a pool, a question, a test, and a yaksha. As the Pandavas wandered deeper into the forest's vast green mystery, they were tested not just by the wilderness, but by the weight of destiny itself. They faced hunger, storms, and the silence of exile. But on one fateful day, it was thirst that brought them to the edge of something far greater. The sun blazed overhead as they crossed an arid patch of forest. The trees stood still. The earth crackled beneath their feet. Their throats dry, their strength fading, the brothers longed for water. Sensing danger, Yudhishthira the eldest, the ever thoughtful, asked Nakula to climb a rise and search for water. Nakula went but never returned. Growing anxious, Yudhishthira sent Sahadeva next. He too vanished into the silence. Then Arjuna, then Bhima, one by one they went, and one by one they disappeared. With dread swelling in his chest, Yudhishthira followed their path and soon reached a tranquil, shimmering lake, and what he saw froze his heart. There beside a shimmering lake lay his four brothers, still and lifeless, their mighty forms fallen like trees after a storm. And then a voice echoed through the air, soft, eerie, not quite human. It came from a crane perched near the lake. But it was no ordinary bird. It was Yaksha, a celestial being in disguise. The Yaksha warned him, "This lake is mine. Your brothers drank without my permission. I questioned them, but they were impatient. They ignored me, and now they lie still. If you too drink without answering, you will meet the same fate." There was no offer, no mercy, only a condition: answer or die. It was not a duel of arrows, but of answers, not a clash of blades, but of truth. And so Yudhishthira, son of Dharma, burdened by laws, yet unwavering, stood before the spirit and accepted the challenge. The forest listened, the wind paused, and the questions began. The Yaksha, intrigued by Yudhishthira's serenity and willingness to engage in a battle of wisdom rather than weapons, began his trial. A test unlike any other, not of strength, but of insight. A dialogue between a mortal and the unseen, echoing with the questions of existence. From the 125 questions posed by the Yaksha, each a reflection of the universe's deepest truths, here are 25 of the most profound and enduring. Questions that have echoed through centuries. Answers that still offer light in the forest of doubt. The Yaksha asked, what makes the sun rise? What walks with it? Who causes it to set? In what is it established? Yudhishthira replied, it is Brahma who makes the sun rise. The gods walk with it. Dharma causes it to set, and it is established in truth. Then came another question. What gifts make a person truly rich? Yudhishthira answered, learning makes one truly rich, not wealth. Knowledge is the treasure that never fades. The Yaksha asked, who is truly happy? And Yudhishthira said, the one who is free from debt, who lives simply in his own home, content with plain food, is truly happy. Then came the question that pierces through time. What is the greatest wonder? Yudhishthira spoke, every day countless beings pass into the realm of death, yet those who remain believe they will live forever. What could be more wondrous? The Yaksha continued, what is heavier than the earth? And Yudhishthira replied, the weight of a mother carrying a child in her womb, that is heavier than the earth. What is swifter than the wind? The mind, Yudhishthira said, for it moves faster than sight, beyond the reach of even the wind. What is more numerous than grass? Worries and desires, Yudhishthira answered. They outnumber even the blades of grass scattered across the world. The Yaksha's voice, calm yet commanding, rippled through the stillness of the forest like wind across water. Who is a friend to the traveler? Yudhishthira replied without hesitation, learning, for knowledge walks beside a traveler, lighting the unknown paths. The Yaksha then turned towards the soul of the household. Who is the friend of one who stays at home? Yudhishthira answered gently, the spouse, a companion in stillness, in silence, and in all the seasons of life. And who stands beside the sick? The Yaksha asked. The physician, said Yudhishthira, who brings hope in moments of despair and healing when the body falters. And who is the friend of a dying man? Yudhishthira bowed his head and said, charity. For only what is given endures beyond death. Then came a question that echoed through the soul. What is the highest virtue? Yudhishthira replied with clarity, ahimsa, non-violence. To do no harm is the noblest path a soul can walk. What is the greatest wealth? Asked the Yaksha. Contentment, Yudhishthira said. For even kings are poor if they hunger endlessly. What is the greatest gain? Health, said Yudhishthira, for without it, neither gold nor glory can bring joy. The Yaksha leaned in closer. And what is the greatest happiness? Yudhishthira's voice was steady. To be content, to live without want, that is the truest joy. Finally, the Yaksha asked, what is true Dharma? And Yudhishthira, whose heart had known pain, exile and truth, answered, compassion for all beings. That is the essence of Dharma. The forest held its breath as the Yaksha continued his timeless inquisition. Each question pierced deeper, not just into Yudhishthira's mind, but into the very marrow of existence. What is the greatest enemy? Without hesitation, Yudhishthira spoke, anger, for it consumes reason, scorches judgment, and turns even wise men blind. The Yaksha's voice lowered, more solemn now. What is the root of grief? Yudhishthira answered with quiet gravity, ignorance, for it shrouds truth, breeds illusion, and binds the soul to sorrow. What is the best path to liberation? Yudhishthira's gaze did not waver. Truth and self-restraint. These are the twin chariots that carry the soul across the ocean of bondage. Who is the most patient of all beings? Yudhishthira's voice softened. One who gives even when deeply wronged. That person holds the greatest strength of patience. Then came a question that shook the very roots of worldly delusion. What is the most amazing thing in the world? Yudhishthira paused, looked skyward and said, Day after day, countless beings pass into the arms of death, yet the living believe they will live forever. This is the greatest wonder. The Yaksha's eyes narrowed, testing the very foundation of Dharma. What is the highest duty of a human being? Yudhishthira replied, to help others, not for reward or recognition, but from the purity of one's soul. The wind stilled, the lake shimmered, and what is the true meaning of charity? Asked the Yaksha. Yudhishthira answered, to protect, to support, to give, without even expecting anything in return. That is true charity. Finally, the Yaksha asked a question that lingered like a whisper of eternity. What should always be remembered? And Yudhishthira, with eyes full of insight, said that life is but a passing shadow and death is certain. This truth must never be forgotten. And then the final question echoed through the silent forest like a hymn from the heavens. What is the supreme refuge of all beings? Yudhishthira, calm as a still lake, replied with unwavering clarity, Dharma. For it is Dharma that protects when all else falls away. It is the eternal refuge, the guiding flame through darkness. A hush fell upon the woods. The air itself seemed to bow in reverence. In that moment, the Yaksha's form began to shimmer, dissolve, and reveal its true self. It was no mere spirit of the lake. He was Yama, the god of death, the silent guardian of righteousness, and Yudhishthira's divine father. But Yudhishthira, though born of Kunti and Pandu, had come into this world through a sacred invocation of Yama. For Pandu, cursed and unable to father children, had asked Kunti to summon the gods themselves. Yama, the embodiment of justice, was the first to answer. And now standing before his son in disguise, Yama's heart swelled with pride. He offered Yudhishthira a choice to bring back one of his fallen brothers. A cruel choice, perhaps, but a test of fairness that only the wisest could endure. And Yudhishthira, without hesitation, chose Nakula, not Bhima, not Arjuna, but Nakula, the son of Madari. He reasoned, I am the son of Kunti, and let one son of Madari also live, so that no mother is left without a child. It was a decision rooted not in emotion, but in justice, not in attachment, but in balance. A moment where righteousness triumphed over favoritism. Yama, moved beyond words by his son's selflessness and wisdom, did not grant the life of just one brother, he revived all four. And as the brothers rose, the parched thirst in their throats vanished. Their weariness was lifted. The trials of the lake were behind them. The tale of the Yaksha Prashna is not just a story of survival. It is a testament to Dharma, to wisdom, to the power of choosing what is right over what is easy. It reminds us that the real tests in life do not arrive with armies or swords. They come quietly, cloaked in choices and disguised as questions. Selflessness and fairness. In choosing to revive Nakula, not his full brother, but the son of Madari, Yudhishthira revealed the rare nobility of a soul anchored in justice. He did not bend to emotion or preference. Instead, he upheld balance, ensuring that both mothers, Kunti and Madari, would have a surviving son. It was a gesture that transcended blood, a quiet testament to the essence of Dharma, to do what is right, not merely what is easy. Transformation and inner awakening. This moment in the wilderness was more than a test. It was a turning point, a sacred passage from exile to enlightenment. In the silent shadow of the lake, under the gaze of an unseen god, Yudhishthira emerged not merely as the eldest Pandava, but as a king in spirit, a sage in thought, a guardian of righteousness. And though the forest still lay ahead, the brothers now walked not in despair, but in light, carrying with them the grace of divine approval and the strength born of self-realization. If the story stirred something ancient within you, a memory of truth, of virtue, of timeless wisdom, we invite you to subscribe to Divine Novel, where the echoes of epics find new voice in every tale. Tap the notifications bell to continue this sacred journey through the forests of the Mahabharata, the oceans of the Puranas, and the skyward paths of eternal philosophy. Thank you for walking with us through this tale of shadows and light. Until we meet again, may your path be guided by Dharma and your heart remain open to wonder.